These are tips that I learned from watching your videos and tips that I feel like it can help others too. First tips I learned are how to start a speech is starting off clean with direct talking to somebody. Obviously, that being talking to somebody new, somebody you want to start off clean. And I think people need to know that is don't start up scared. Like if you're talking to somebody new, don't be shy. Don't shy away from talking lower to me. Speak normal to me, how you would speak to your mom, your dad, your sister, your dog, whatever. Speak normal to me. I feel like you shouldn't be um, choppy. You know what I mean? Also, double check your. Let me see again. Double check your plan. What you're gonna say to me. Like, hey, I need your help. Moving this couch. For my house. Tell me straight up. Don't be like, oh, I was gonna ask you to help me move my couch, but you know what? I got it, bro. I'm fine. Don't be like that. Just tell me straight up because if you don't tell me straight up, I'm like, okay, you got it then. All right, peace. Obviously, in my mind, I'm gonna ask you either way. Like, are you sure, bro? Like, are you sure you don't need help? And then most of the time, that's when they say, like, oh yeah, can I have your help? Just ask me straight up. Whatever you're gonna ask me. Next one is ask questions when you're starting a speech, especially in front of people too. Let's say you're doing a speech and you want to break the wall, the ice of talking to somebody. Maybe you got a friend in the crowd. Don't rely on a friend either, but I'm just saying, like, ask a question like to him, like, oh, what do you think, about this? Make you feel like a little more comfortable, like you're talking to somebody or somebody new. And they look nice. They don't look meany, like a mean mug like this. They don't look like that. They like this, smiling at you. And you're like, okay, hey, you got a question? Can I ask you a question? Like, what do you think about this and so and so that? Just to break the ice. Next one is how to speak up with confidence. Another thing I like about this is that it does tell you straight up, I don't need you to lean back. I need you to come in forward, engage in the conversation. The problem what I think a lot of people do is when they speak, they tend to lean back, especially when it's somebody new. I don't think you should do that. I think you should, if you're gonna talk to somebody new, try to engage with the person. That's why you're doing it, especially with any kind of topic of talking to somebody or being in a speech. You need to engage with the people. Next one is don't ask for permission. I feel like if you're in a conversation or like near a conversation, obviously it can be scary to talk to somebody new, especially trying to enter somebody's conversation that you don't know. But you can give an opinion. Maybe you have something that can help out, and they're like taking a breather. They're both taking a breath, getting ready to talk again. Say, hey, I know you were talking about the newest iPhone. You said it was the 13. It's actually the 15 Pro Max. Oh, I didn't know there was a 15. Yeah, it was actually 15. It just came out last month. Like something like that. Next one is don't wait for a pause. Dealing with something to a situation is don't wait for a pause. You just try to get in when you can get in. Because again, conversations do carry on for a while, especially when you're engaged with somebody. It can take a good minute, or it can go like that, and the conversation's done, and you don't have a chance to engage in it no more until you're after. But to me, I feel like you should engage while they're both still engaging. That's what makes a conversation, not just to wait and start a new one. Now you can do that, but just, why not? Just join the conversation while it's still going. Hold on. Show you what. Okay, it's next one. Sorry. Public speaking for beginners. Don't ramble too much. In here it says don't ramble too much about something that's not on the topic of the speech, because I know a lot of people who do that. They ramble about a story that doesn't make any kind of sense about the subject. Maybe they'll talk about their dog or their kids, and you're like, I'm here to make a transaction with you. Why are we talking about this? But maybe again it could work with both. Maybe you're both dads, then maybe that could work. But let's say a teenager and a 40-year-old man, like big age gap difference, and why are you talking to me about your kids? I don't really care about that. Just sell me the car. Cool, got the money, the title card. All right, let's go. Look directly eye contact. I feel like this is very, very true that you need to do that whenever you are speaking towards somebody in public speaking. You need to talk to somebody, and give them direct eye contact. I feel like it's rude when you're looking down or looking up. Look at me directly because I feel like you're getting the message straightforward to the person. Don't be scared to look at somebody. They're there for you, and they're there to learn from you, and they're there to see what you're talking about and why they're there. Obviously, and they feel more engaged in the speech when you look at them. Next one is don't clutter notes. That would be don't consistently look at your notes like this, like, oh my god. Hi, yes. Don't do that. Okay, it just makes you feel like you're unprepared. You're not ready for me. You're just nervous. You're scared. Don't do that. Now, obviously, it's fine to glance in your notes and talk to somebody like that, but it's cool. Like every once in a while, like, oh, you're walking around. Okay. Or let's even in this situation, and I glance just to see what I need to talk about next. That's fine. Okay, you're still on track. You're still on track and on course on what you're trying to speak about. Now, obviously, we are going to keep going. Not stop and don't need to do that. Next one, and the tip for this one is don't fidget with your fingers, especially like this, like popping your fingers. Like, don't do that. Or biting your nails. I don't know why people do that. I don't know why people bite their nails. That's just nasty. Don't bite your nails. No. You don't need to do that. It just shows, like, kind of makes it a little kiddish. You want to be shown as an adult or somebody that's like, oh man, okay, this is a guy I gotta take serious. Next one is public speaking with anxiety. Change your mindset. That's one of the tips I like right there. If you have the mindset that they're not there for me, no, you need to have the mindset that they are there for you, because they are there to listen to you. That's why they're there to see you speak. That's why they're there to see you do everything. Speak out on what the topic you're speaking about. That's why they're there for you. The next one is being nervous is normal. It's a normal thing because it's a mixture of being nervous and excited. I can remember when I used to play football games, I used to be nervous and excited because I was like, oh, we are going to beat this team. I know we're going to beat this team. But then you're like, oh, I got a good running back on that team. Oh, he might run us over. He might win the game for them. So it's both. It's nervous and excitement in both. It's normal. Using the same subject as that. And even in speeches, you're like, oh my God, like, let's just say, oh my God, if I nail this speech, I do really well, I might get a raise, something like that. Or maybe your crush is out there and you're like, oh, I want to look good for her or him. I don't know, something like that. Look confident. Stand up with a perfect posture. Be perfect with what you're speaking with. Be confident in yourself. Like a lot of people tend to show off that they're nervous. They look down, or their voice might go up higher. It's not showing. It's really showing it. But when you look calm, clean, even though on the inside your heart's beating, like you're calm. People are like, oh, he seems cool. He seems normal. And people are like, and you finish the speech, like people are like, man, I don't know how you did it up there, man. You look clean, you look smooth. You're like, dude, I was nervous. I was shaking in my boots. I was not confident, but it shows that you were confident. As long as you show that you are confident, you sound confident, you are confident, buddy, you don't need to, if you were nervous, you don't need to worry about that, because you nailed it either way. And at some point, you'll evolve from just maybe the first minute you're nervous and like that, nothing. Next one's asked. No, that's the original one. Next one is public speaking anxiety behaviors. Practice like crazy. And this is true. You need to practice like crazy, especially if you are a person that is, it's very, very scared. You can talk sometimes and you sound normal in the beginning, but as the more you get into speech, your voice goes higher and higher and higher, or you might talk faster and faster and faster as speech goes. Instead, you need to practice more on a lot of your notes, like reading your notes, obviously like this, and talking like this. I do remember the girl we had, she used to practice a crazy amount. She used to be like because this was our graduation speech she was doing. She's like, "Hey Josh, can I talk to you real quick?" I'm like, "Yeah, fine. What's up?" She's like, "Let me know what you think about this. I'm gonna say this speech at our graduation," and then she would just say it straight up to me, right? I'd be like, sometimes some parts she would go a little high, and some parts she was good, you know. And I told her about the little high part. I'm like, "Oh, why are you a little higher?" She's like, "Oh, I got a little nervous, you know, because I thought I was going too fast." I'm like, "You got it, you know. It's just we're here to listen to you. We're not here to rush you too fast. I understand we gotta, you know, graduate, but again, this is an important speech. You don't want to rush it." She was like, "Oh, that's true, you know." So they're gonna deal with that. Next one is focus on your message. I feel like a lot of people with anxieties tend to like, I would say they would go to like a happy place where they start thinking about maybe their dog. I like bringing dogs. I don't know why I like bringing dogs up, or their cat, and I'm just talking about them instead of what the original topic was about. Maybe it was to sell a deal, get a contract done. Like, hey, we're here to get a contract done, not talk about your dog or cat. You know. Next one is I never really seen this, but this is actually pretty cool. Is get there early and walk in the room. What that meaning is that the tip is teaching us about is if you are scared or nervous, why not dip your toes in the water early and go into the room where you're going to be speaking in or building whatever and get a feel for it, you know. Be like, okay, you know, you're there. Nobody's there, obviously. You're just, you know, saying your speech, obviously, the cards, whatever. And after a couple times, you put the cards down. You're like, "Hello, my name is Joshua. I'm here to talk about, you know, so and so, this, that." You know, you smooth it out, and you look at your cards after, and you're like, "Okay, did I mess up on some of the parts? Ooh, I messed up. Why did I say that instead? I just inverted some new words in there. Didn't mean to do that." You know, things like that. Like, I think that's pretty cool. I might try that one day. One day. You never know. Maybe I might go in the room and be like, "You know what? This video told me to do that. If I'm a little nervous, you know, maybe it's my biggest speech ever. And I know there's a bonus right on my back for this, and I'm nervous. I might do that." Next one, know your audience before you talk to them. You know, obviously, I think another a big one is I would say know your audience because you don't want to say something that you know doesn't really relate to the audience, and you're like, "Oh, it doesn't really relate to us," you know, something like that. Another one is how to analyze an audience for public speaking. I would say in this tip I like right here it says make sure your message speaks to them personally, which I think it's true. You know, your message needs to speak to them personally. Now, it's not all just about you, the message, because if it just relates to you, it's just what you think. You know, for yourself. Now, if the message can relate to everybody, then that's a real message. You know, that's what you want. Next one is gather information of who you're gonna talk about, who's gonna be there, what they're looking for. As for the topic, because sometimes in some places you may not know what topic you're gonna talk about. You know, so you want to gather as much information as you can. Sorry. Hold on. For who you want to talk to and all that, you know. Like that would be, for an example, let's say I'm going to a high school. I'm not high school. Let's say a middle school, right? Let's say intermediate. I'm gonna talk to them about the next step of going to high school and why this high school is the best high school you can go to as a kid. You know, and tell them the great things about this high school. You know, that's the topic. You know, that's what you want to know. You're gonna be talking to a lot of 12-year-olds and 13-year-olds and 14-year-olds. You know, maybe at the time, so you know your age group. You know, or you know a topic or what the group wants to know. 5 tips to tell more memorable stories. I usually tell stories like that, usually real quick, maybe about 15 to 30 seconds if I'm going to talk about a story. And I have learned to upgrade my story talking a little bit now. Next, this tip right here is know the point of the story. You know, the point of the story. What was the point of the story? You know, why did I say that? You know, maybe I'm selling a car one day to somebody, and I say, "Man, I remember when I got this car. You know, I remember how excited I was to get it. Now I'm selling it away. I remember all the times about so that. And, it relates to the story, but I was talking to somebody, or let's just say I'm a principal one day, maybe for the high school that I went to. Back in my days, I remember I was walking around, and I wish we could have this and this and that, and now I'm able to bring this to this school, things like that. You added the point to it, and some people don't do that. Know what your audience would be good for. Oh my bad. Know what your story would be good for the audience. Like what kind of message the story would give to the audience, or what kind of factor it would help the audience have a better understanding of your topic. This is important because I would say, I'm trying to think right now. This would be important because the factor is that story does play a big role if you are talking about it, because sometimes you don't want to give a story that doesn't make any sense to the audience, and it just okay, why did he say that? That didn't really make any sense to me. Or maybe one person got it, but the other people didn't get it, You want everybody to get your story, and you want to get everybody to get your point of that story. The next one is you want to be very detailed in your story. I think it's true because, let's say I was talking about a story about my days playing football in the rain, and it's like, man, the day playing in the rain was fun. I remember just being wet, and that's about it. That's all I say, I should be saying this instead. Man, playing football in the rain was fun. It was muddy, slippery. The ball was everywhere. We were fumbling. We were in the mud. And if we won the game, we used to slide in the mud. And coach would be mad at us. And we would go on the bus all dirty, mud everywhere. And we felt bad for the person because they cleaned the bus. And we go in the locker room. It was even more of a mess. And when we got out the locker room, when we came back the next week, the janitor did not want to clean that locker room fully to spotless. So it still smelled like mud and dirt in there. Stories like that, you're giving little details out. It took me less than 25 seconds to talk about it. So I think it is very important to be very detailed in your stories. Next one, and this doesn't really apply to me, but maybe one day this could apply to me because maybe I might go to a different country to speak with somebody. 4 tips for public speaking with an accent. I do know some people who do have accents, so I feel this can help us, me, and them. So one day. So, one of the tips I'd like from her is do not stress about pronouns, And you're probably wondering, what's the pronoun for speaking with an accent? Is that, let's say I'm talking to somebody, or they're talking about, what do you think about this, So I'm like, oh, I agree with you, Instead of saying, some people with an accent may say, I agree with you. It sounds different from, I agree with you. It's very verbally different how you pronounce the. Another tip in there is the key word. It's a big thing. Pronouns and keyword, because instead of saying I agree with you, you say I loudly, and then you're making that your keyword. I use agree with you as a keyword instead. For the normal pronoun, you should be using that for. So I think that does play a big factor in how some people with accents do tend to mess up in that situation. Another one is make a list of the most common words they use in your workplace, school, or wherever you're at. Because a lot of the times, I do know from experience that when people do call me, they tend to be not being able to fully translate some words well in English. Like, hey, I need an X-ray, or I need a ray. I need they say they're gonna we're actually like a Rexway, right? I'm like, huh? And so they don't learn the word fully in English because they think I speak this other language, but I don't. I speak English. When you work in America, you're supposed to speak English. But it's the same thing if I was able to work in France, and I need to say something like in French, like, oh, I need water. I don't know how to say water in French, probably waza or something like that. But it's the same thing, The next one is when trying to speak, let's say you're trying to say a word, but it comes out all wonky because you're trying to speak fast because you're trying to be looking like you're fluent in our language or in their language. You never want to do that. You want to speak slow because you want to get it out as best as you can. It's not embarrassing to speak slow. As long as the message gets out there clean and good, that's all that matters. It's not all about just being, oh, I think we should do this and that. No. See how it sounded so not good, not good at all? When you say, oh, I think we should go out on Thursday and have dinner night together, me and you. Sounds nice. You don't need to speak fast. But I think those are tips that can really help me out if I was to, or somebody who is dealing with an accent, speaking out. And this is another topic is that I recommend, from my experience in speaking out on topics, is I would say take a deep breath before you're gonna go up there. Maybe say you're gonna go on a stage. It's nerve wracking. I've done it before. It's very nerve wracking, especially when you got a mic in your hand. You're like, hello. And it goes, you're like, ah. It's from my experience. I've done that before. Very embarrassing. Well, in high school, middle school, I've done it, but I got better over time. So again, you want to take a deep breath. Most of the time, for me, breaking the ice, my idea of breaking the ice is usually the first thing you want to do is say your name, like, hi, my name is Joshua, so and so this, and then you explain the topic of what you're going to talk about. Like, oh, I'm here to talk about my time being at, so and so this high school, and the experience I've had here, and the great things that your kids can learn from here, things like that. That's a way of breaking the ice. And also, talking slow. If you're starting off with a speech, you want to start off slow and little inhales, things like that. But you don't want to go, you want to go with your nose mostly, but again, some people forget to breathe in back out with their nose, just breathe in and breathe out with their mouth, which is fine. But another thing is a lot of people tend to not breathe when talking, which is crazy. I've seen it happen before, where people don't breathe when they're not talking, and I'm just like, remember to breathe, because a lot of people forget that, and they're trying to get red, and it looks like they're embarrassed, but reality is they're red because there's no oxygen in them. So remember to breathe, I would say. What's another one I would say that I learned from my experience? Just don't focus on one person either. I mean, with the eye contact too, I think a big problem is people think that you need to focus on like back-to-back three. Look at everybody, be like, hey everybody, look at everybody for like, give a solid like 10 seconds and then go to the next person. Don't stick on one person, because it looks like you're just directly talking to one person, which you don't want to do that at all. And I know it's scary for some people to give direct eye contact to somebody, but again, they're there to listen to you and see you, obviously. But those are my tips that I learned, and tips that I think can help some other people out. Thank you for letting me watch the videos, Ms. Howard, and thank you for letting me make this video.